Hello, everyone. Thank you for your patience and welcome back to another episode. We're building some terrain today. And not just any terrain, specifically some scattered terrain. We're using these little corner protectors that you can use for shelves to protect your floors or even walls from getting damaged, or even maybe your elbows. And I just had so many of them, I thought we could use these as little L-shaped corner pieces for Killteam or 40k and make something pretty interesting with them. So for these little scattered terrain pieces, I opted out for some medicine bottles as kind of the foundations of which to build some sort of doohickey looking mechanism silo thing. I have this little Nerf gun nozzle thing that I've been wanting to use, but I haven't known what to use it for. I think this build is going to work. But first, we need to fill up that gap up top and kind of disguise this bottle. I used one of those little pizza table thingies that come in the pizza box. They're my favorite little bit because they're so flat and perfect for this type of stuff to kind of be some sort of cap. It's perfect. Now that the gaps have been filled, I thought to bring some sort of character to the outside of those little shelving protectors. I just add a couple more panels. Panels always make things look sci-fi-esque, so the more panels the better. And you'll see it on different scattered terrain pieces that we do in this build, that they're kind of at random with not much purpose, but they look nice. I don't know what you call these little filter things, but you can find them on the inside of your coffee bags, and I like them. They look very industrial, very mechanical. Just make sure you're sanding down your plastics so they can stick together. And also make sure to sand down your plastics in general. I forgot to do this during the build, and I ended up having some paint chipping issues. So yeah, just a friendly reminder, sand down your plastics before putting them all together, which is a little tedious, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Next up, we have some gaps between the medicine bottle and the plastic wall. So I'm going to fill these up with some pipes and actually some chopped up little weaponry to make it kind of look like piping or mechanical bits. I suggest doing this if you have any spare gun bits that you're not using at all for your armies. It'll make it look a lot more convincing if you're trying to pull off an industrial feel. To actually make this look like some sort of machine, I'm going to use some EVA foam strips to cover up where the screw top would be, and even towards the top to add some more dimension. The more we kind of add layers and layers of stuff and panels, the more convincing it'll kind of feel. While Rick is working on those gaps, let me tell you about our new Patreon. Yes, we have a Patreon. We have a $3 tier that gives you access to all the behind the scenes and all the things that are going on in my day-to-day hobby stuff. I post about 2 to 3 times a week and keep you guys updated on what videos will be coming up next. Then we have the $5 tier Patreon, which comes with access to our Discord and any other chit-chats that may be going on there. And for every new Patreon subscriber, we will be shouting them out in the next video as well. And we're going to do the shout out right now. Our first ever Patreon subscriber who chose the $5 tier. Thank you so much, RJ Bailey. It means the world that you are supporting this channel, and have faith that I'm going to be putting out good quality content. It means so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So yeah, be sure to join us there. We'd love to see you, and we'd love to meet the rest of you. Anyways, back to the video. I have this little pop gun that I've been wanting to dissect and use for a future video, and upon doing so, I was actually really disappointed. There weren't very many parts and they were all really greased up, which was kind of gross, and I didn't want to wash anything. But there was this little top cap that I thought I could use, and it looks like it could be a fun little greebly to kind of put as some sort of hatch. I wanted it to look like there were some sort of doors or some sort of way to get into this thing, so I used these Altoids cans as like some sort of door looking mechanism, even though you probably couldn't open this thing up if it existed. And as per usual, just to bulk things out and make it look interesting, I used some EVA foam bits and whatever random little greeblies I could come up with from chopping up turrets, a little pipe, and also a key from a keyboard to kind of add some strange surface. The top we add a little 3D printed hatch just to add some details, and whatever this 3D bit is, I don't know what it is. To kind of fill up this weird random corner gap, I came up with this EVA foam with kind of a turret piece on top. It was one of those moments where I had to walk away from the piece and give it a day to come back and finally figure it out. And yeah, this works really well. To push the gap filling even further, I like to use super glue gel and then sprinkle a little bit of baking powder on those spots just to solidify it. This makes it look like corrosion or crappy welding and just gives the surface an awesome texture. Hey, it's time to rivet some things up. I use flat jeweled beads. I learned this from build making stuff, and you know, you should probably try it on your terrain builds. It just makes things come alive somehow, these little rivets. Yeah, they're pretty fun. A little obnoxious to put on, but pretty fun. Past Rick either forgot to film this or lost the footage, but you can see those little googly eyes up top right there. Those are also being used as rivets because they have a fun little shape to them. You'll see it later when we paint it, but try googly eyes too. It gives the terrain fun because you give them a little shake, you can hear them on the inside. It's I don't know, makes me giddy. So we got 2 bits here that are going to help transform this next little medicine bottle. The top of a milk cap to kind of help give some variety in shape, and then the bottom cylinder things are from that little capet gun. So as I began to build this medicine bottle, I kind of noticed that each medicine bottle corner piece thing that we were building kind of had its own theme. This one felt kind of sciencey for me because I used so many random bits, from toys to 3D printed bits to little mesh canvas pieces to caps, and just throwing these all together kind of gave it like a science feel. I don't know, like a mad scientist works on this thing. Really, all I can suggest to you is that if you're building stuff, add as much detail as you can. I was looking at some Warhammer 40k official terrain, and I noticed how many divots and rivets and crevices and wires and skulls and all sorts of stuff was thrown onto these pieces of terrain, and it really made it feel alive. And that's kind of what I was going for this part, because I just felt inspired. All right, it's the best time. It's prime time. All right, let's bring this stuff to life with some metallics. I'm using just a regular craft paint silver here. In the end, I feel like I should have used a darker silver because I felt like it clashed with some of the other metallics, but it ended up being the choice. On the rest of the greeblies, we used a variety of mute golds, bronzes, and even some coppers. All I was trying to aim for here was variety without clashing and or overwhelming the eyes with too much metallic colors. I'm trying to keep themes together with all my terrain pieces, so I'm using kind of the same muted and or greenish tones that I've been using in the last couple videos, and that's just what we're kind of aiming for today. The only time this ended up not working well is when we introduced a gray color with that silver, and it almost in this lighting seemed to combine together, and it's something I'm going to take note of next time. I absolutely love using craft paint for terrain projects because you can slap it on thick, and especially with these industrial pieces, I like doing so. Even if the paint looks like chunky-esque or too thick for the objects, it feels like it was just done haphazardly, and by doing so in this kind of environment, I think it adds character to it. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I shouldn't be layering it on as thick. I do about 2 or 3 coats, so I don't know. Tell me what you guys think. Let's destroy that beautiful base coat now by throwing on some metallics. I'm just kind of throwing this where the weldings would be, these little areas that would have uneven surfaces and get corroded, I feel like pretty easily due to the elements. And then in areas where the flat surfaces are kind of exposed to the outer world, I try to imagine like where would rain fall, where would things brush up against this, where would wind kind of interact with stuff, and I try to dry brush, stipple, and smear stuff around in those areas, as well as get the edges of the terrain to kind of show that things are wearing away at the edges. I hate to be that YouTuber as well, but make sure you hit that like button, you know, doing that little free thing that helps us in the algorithm, as well as possibly sharing with some friends or on Reddit and or X, I think it's called, formerly known as Twitter. And also another free thing is subscribing, because we'd like to see you guys around more often, and we're going to continue posting up more terrain videos and podcasts and miniature videos and all sorts of stuff. Alright, and here's our usual trick in the book that we always pull out, which is oil paints. I always layer on a thick amount of black oil paint and leave it there for about 20 minutes to kind of stain and kind of do its thing, and then I take that all away by adding just white spirits all over the terrain pieces and kind of pulling away with a paper towel, making it look like it's been through the elements. It's interesting because we basically just build up this terrain, make it look as clean as hell with a paint job, and then we dirty it. That's all weathering really is. It's kind of silly once you think about it. After that oil wash, we're just using some weathering pigment powders, as well as a teal patina type of rust from Green Stuff World. I absolutely love it. It just looks awesome. It's nice and stark, but also tends to dry pretty matte. And with that, that's kind of the final process. Not much more to the whole thing than those steps. I feel like I'm kind of repeating myself at this point, and I gotta come up with something new for you guys to watch, because these steps are getting kind of repetitive, you know. We'll figure something out. I'll do some studying, and I'll bring some fun stuff to you guys in the next video. But until then, let's get into those glam shots, shall we?
3, 2, 1. Killteam.
And there it is, guys, some scattered terrain for 40k and or any of your Kill Team games or whatever else you're feeling like. I wanted to say thank you so much for your patience and letting me have this little bit of a break. It was definitely needed. And yeah, as always, hit that like button, share with your friends, and subscribe. And thank you for supporting me and Boxnot, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.